When it ever happened, I'd look and see what's happening now, and I had to pinch myself. In the world of royalty, where every move is watched, some stories are never meant to be heard. Yet a shocking revelation has pulled Queen Camilla into the center of one of the monarchy's most mysterious claims. A son, kept away from the spotlight for decades, has finally emerged, and what he's saying could destroy the royal family. But who knew and who helped hide the truth? As pieces begin to surface, the mystery only grows deeper. Join us as we find out the reason why Queen Camilla kept this child a secret all these years. The truth about King Charles and Queen Camilla's relationship. Before she became Camilla Parker Bowles, Camilla Shand had already met Prince Charles. It was sometime around the middle of 1970 when their paths first crossed. At that moment in her life, Camilla was no longer seeing Andrew Parker Bowles. He had ended their relationship briefly and had started courting Princess Anne instead. Though Camilla and Charles moved through the same social groups and often appeared at the same parties and events, they had never spoken directly or been formally introduced. That changed when their mutual friend, Lucia Santa Cruz, brought them together for the first time. Their first meeting didn't happen at a polo match, as many believed. It actually took place in Santa Cruz's home. From that point on, the connection between them grew quickly as they spent more time together, forming a very close bond. Their shared love for horses and the outdoors and their upbringing in similar social circles made their bond feel effortless. They were often seen together, and their relationship was openly known within their circle. In time, Charles visited Camilla's family at their home in Plumpton. She also met several members of his family, showing how serious the relationship had become. But life around the royal family was never simple. In 1973, Charles was sent away to serve in the Royal Navy. His duties kept him at sea, far from home, and the physical distance slowly pulled the two apart. When Charles returned, things had changed. The romance that once seemed promising had gradually faded. The pressures around them, royal responsibilities, public expectations, and family opinions had played a strong role in forcing them apart. Even though their romantic relationship ended, they never completely lost touch. In the aristocratic world they belonged to, their lives kept crossing. Events, friends, and shared memories tied them together, and the connection never completely disappeared. Their early love story faced many obstacles. Some believed that Charles had met Camilla too early in life. He wasn't yet ready for marriage and didn't ask her to wait for him while he fulfilled his naval duties. Others whispered that Lord Mountbatten had his own plans and worked behind the scenes to send Charles away. Mountbatten had reportedly hoped to match Charles with his granddaughter Amanda Nakbo and saw Camilla as a distraction from that plan. There were also deeper layers of disapproval. Queen Elizabeth. The Queen Mother was said to have reservations about Camilla. She preferred someone of a different family background, possibly one of the Spencer granddaughters who came from a line that had strong ties to the royal family. Meanwhile, Camilla had been involved in an on-again, off-again relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles since the late 1960s. This further complicated the situation. Some said that Charles was not yet ready to settle down anyway. He had openly decided he would not marry until he was 30. Even if Charles had proposed, many biographers believed the palace would never have allowed it. Patricia Nakbo, Charles's cousin and godmother, once revealed that some palace insiders had labeled Camilla as unsuitable for the future role of queen. Despite all this, the emotional bond between Charles and Camilla remained. It quietly survived beneath the surface of royal life. In 1979, Charles was devastated by the tragic loss of Lord Mountbatten, who had been like a grandfather to him. During this painful period, Camilla became a source of comfort. Some close to them believed that their relationship started again during this time. Others suggested it had never fully ended. By 1980, words were already spreading that the old romance had returned. However, Charles was soon seen with Lady Diana Spencer, a match the royal family approved. That courtship was short but intense, and in 1981, Charles and Diana were married in a grand ceremony watched by millions across the world. However, it wasn't a happy marriage. More than a decade later, Charles and Camilla's past could no longer stay hidden. In 1992, a book titled Diana, Her True Story brought their affair into public view. It exposed the cracks in Charles and Diana's marriage. Much worse, a secretly recorded phone conversation between Charles and Camilla was leaked to the press the following year. The incident, later called the Camilla Gate scandal, shocked the public. The content of the call caused outrage, and both Charles and Camilla faced heavy criticism. Camilla, in particular, became the focus of continuous media attacks, while Charles's reputation suffered. To address the issue, Charles gave a television interview in 1994 and admitted that his marriage had broken down years earlier. He confirmed that his relationship with Camilla had resumed by then. With this admission, their private life became public knowledge. After both Charles and Camilla finalized their divorces, they no longer kept their relationship hidden. Charles made it clear that Camilla would continue to be part of his life. Slowly, Camilla began to appear more often in public. In 2002, she was invited to the Queen's Golden Jubilee celebration and was seated just behind the Queen during a concert at Buckingham Palace. This moment marked her entry into official royal life. Around this time, Charles also began funding Camilla's security team, showing her increasing importance. Though she still kept her own home, Ray Mill House, purchased in 1995, she eventually moved into Clarence House, Charles's official London residence, in 2003. By 2004, Camilla was attending almost all of Charles's official events. She even joined him at the Highland Games in Scotland, standing publicly by his side. Then, in February 2005, Clarence House announced their engagement. The news drew enormous attention, especially because of Charles's future role as head of the Church of England and Camilla's history as a divorced woman. Nevertheless, on April 9, 2005, they married in a modest civil ceremony at Windsor Guildhall. Their parents did not attend. Instead, Camilla's son, Tom Parker Bowles, and Charles's eldest son, Prince William, served as the official witnesses. Surprisingly, strange claims have surfaced that neither Prince William nor Tom Parker Bowles are the first child of King Charles and Camilla. Some say that they both had a secret child together, a son born during the years when their relationship was hidden. Rumors suggest that this child has lived in the shadows for decades, protected by layers of secrecy. But as more information comes forward and as documents begin to emerge, the long-buried truth may finally be revealing itself. A son hidden in secrecy. For many years, the British royal family managed to keep their lives behind closed doors. They lived in a world filled with mystery, protected by old traditions and a well-controlled image. Their silence helped them survive in a world where appearances meant everything. They knew how to keep secrets and how to avoid too much attention. But the world has changed. With the internet, social media, and people always searching for hidden truths, it has become harder than ever to keep anything private. Now, one man's bold claim is stirring a storm that won't go away. In the heart of this strange and emotional story is a man from Queensland, Australia, Simon Charles Durante Day. For over 30 years, he has been on a deeply personal mission, driven by a belief that he is the secret child of King Charles III and Queen Camilla. He was adopted as a child, but over time he began to feel that something about his past didn't make sense. He says his adoptive grandmother, who once worked for the royal household, told him many times that he was the son of Charles and Camilla. That statement changed his life and started a long journey filled with doubt, determination, and discovery. Simon's story is unusual, even strange to some, but he has never stopped searching for answers. He believes he was born in 1965, during a time when Charles and Camilla were still teenagers. He claims that during that period their relationship was kept hidden and that his birth was covered up. These are dramatic details, and they have made people around the world stop and listen. Photographs play a big part in Simon's claim. He has shared pictures of himself and his children, pointing out what he believes are strong physical similarities to the royal family. One photo in particular of his daughter Miriam caught public attention because many say she looks like Princess Charlotte. Simon often posts side-by-side images online, showing what he believes are shared features with King Charles. These comparisons are his way of asking the world to see what he sees, a link that can't be explained away. His version of events includes secret decisions, medical interference, and a powerful effort to erase any proof of his royal blood. He even says that as a young boy, doctors altered his eye color and teeth to hide his identity. I don't think they had any choice but to do that. It was because of the gossip around Portsmouth at the time. Despite his efforts, the response from the royal family has been silence. No statements have been made, and no one has agreed to a DNA test. This silence only fuels the mystery. Simon has tried again and again to push for recognition. He has filed legal documents in hopes of forcing Charles and Camilla to take a test and settle the matter once and for all. Each attempt has been denied, but that hasn't stopped him. His determination seems to grow stronger every year. Meanwhile, there are people who support him, who see courage in what he is doing. Online, many voices cheer him on, asking the royal family to finally respond. They believe that if there is nothing to hide, then a DNA test should be simple. Others, though, find the whole story hard to believe, pointing out that records show Charles and Camilla did not meet until 1970, 5 years after Simon's birth. That detail alone makes many people question the story. Still, Simon continues to fight, convinced that his search for the truth matters more than anything else. He has said that if King Charles and Queen Camilla visit Australia, he plans to take legal action while they are in the country. That threat shows how serious he is, how deeply he believes in his story. He's not just searching for fame, he's searching for identity, for a piece of himself that has always been missing. Simon Durante. Day's story has touched nerves across the globe. It brings up powerful feelings about family, secrets, and the need for answers. His story is about more than just royal blood. It's about what it means to belong, to understand your past, and to finally feel seen. Whether or not his claims are ever proven, one thing is clear. He has brought a hidden conversation into the light, and in doing so, he has forced even the oldest traditions to face the modern world, the unexplainable connection. And I put a picture in front of her that was in the newspaper of Charles and Camilla, and I said, "Is this then?" And she said, "Yes." In 2022, when Queen Elizabeth II passed away, Simon felt something very deep inside him shift. It wasn't just sadness. It was a mix of emotions tangled up inside him. He felt disappointed, frustrated, and angry. As someone born and raised in England, he had always known the Queen as a constant figure. Her had grown up quite close to her, and her presence felt like a thread woven into the fabric of his life. Losing her felt like losing someone close. His supposed grandmother. That moment was heavy, and the emotions were confusing, but they were real and impossible to ignore. The news came to Simon not from a news alert or a television report, but from a voice that was even closer, his youngest daughter. She had come into the room early in the morning while Simon and his wife were still asleep. Gently, she woke them and told them what had happened. The Queen was no more. For a moment, Simon couldn't fully take it in, but when he looked at his daughter's face, he saw how sad she was. To her, the Queen wasn't just a public figure. She looked up to her, believing she was her great-grandmother, someone wise and warm, someone powerful yet close. That connection, even if only imagined, meant something to her, and now that connection is gone. Later, Simon saw a message from his son, who worked night shifts, and had texted him around 4 a.m. His son's reaction was different. It wasn't sadness, but frustration. He questioned everything, the system, the truth, the silence. He wanted answers. The difference in how his children reacted made Simon think more deeply. One felt a personal loss, the other felt betrayed. Both reactions meant something. For Simon, the Queen's passing was more than a moment of national mourning. It brought back feelings that had never really gone away. He had long believed that he was connected to the royal family. He had shared pictures of himself and his family. Photos, he said, showed clear resemblances to Queen Elizabeth II and in others in the royal bloodline. Whenever he looked at those images now, the grief would return. Seeing those familiar faces, ones that looked too much like hers, made it impossible for him to forget. His friends felt it too. Many were grieving the Queen's passing. But for Simon, the pain was layered. It wasn't just about the Queen being gone. It was about everything she symbolized to him and everything he felt he had lost without ever having. But he needs stopped believing strongly in the truth he carried. Simon talked about the Shand family, his own family, and how their history connected to many lines within the royal family. He believed the proof was there, right in front of people's eyes, and this wasn't something new. He had taken legal steps back in 2018. He had gone to court, asked questions, and followed the advice given to him. He was trying to put all the pieces together, but the process was difficult. He was doing it on his own. It was all about explaining his life, his identity, and everything that had brought him to this point. Being adopted added another weight to his struggle. Simon said he had a right to know where he came from and who he truly was. Like every other adopted person, he believed he deserved answers. He wanted to know why things had happened the way they did. He wanted to understand why no one had told him the truth. He wanted to know why he had never met the Queen. He wanted to hear her version of the story. But now, that chance was lost forever. Still, Simon wasn't ready to give up. He had been to court. He had presented what he believed was real evidence. But the system, he felt, had not responded the way it should have. The real frustration came from not getting even a basic answer. It felt like climbing a mountain that never ended. Whether the person at the top of that mountain was the Queen or now King Charles, it didn't matter. The challenge stayed the same. It was always about the truth. That was the goal. That was the only thing that mattered. Even with the Queen gone and a new monarch on the throne, Simon's determination had not faded. The face at the top of the mountain may have changed, but the climb was still his to make. He had to keep going. He had to uncover what he believed had been kept from him for far too long. Simon wasn't afraid of titles or crowns. He wasn't worried about challenging someone with power. He just wanted to be heard. He wanted the new king to understand that he hadn't disappeared. He was still here, still searching, still standing, and he was going to continue using the law to push forward. He was going to keep asking the same questions until someone finally gave him an answer. The road was long and it was steep, but Simon was still walking it step by step, carrying the weight of his story and refusing to let it be ignored. There are people who understand, who see what he sees, and who believe that the truth matters more than tradition, and that belief is what keeps him moving forward. Whether Simon's claims turn out to be true or not, he has forced a conversation the royals would rather avoid. A journey of discovery. If Simon's claims turn out to be true, everything about the British monarchy could change. He says he is the rightful heir, and watching King Charles name William as the Prince of Wales was like being completely forgotten. That moment didn't just hurt because of what he didn't receive. It hurt because it made him feel invisible. It's the kind of pain that settles deep inside. That's what he felt most. Still, he says he was never chasing titles. What he truly wanted was something much more powerful than a crown. He wanted the truth. As he speaks about his life, his words reflect a long emotional journey. He recalls being a child and believing in the monarchy without question. His young mind saw the British flag and felt proud. He believed the monarchy stood for honor and glory. That was how it was taught to him. Everything looked beautiful on the surface, but growing up changed all that. With time, he started seeing what was really happening around him. Poverty, people struggling to find work, an economy that didn't care. Reality was harsh, and the pride he once felt started to fade. Eventually, that pride turned to resentment. He says that by the time he left the United Kingdom, he no longer respected the royal family. He had grown to despise what they represented. He believed they had failed not just the people of England, but people all over the world. His time in the Navy opened his eyes even more. Traveling from country to country, he witnessed the deep wounds left behind by the British Empire. He saw the damage, the broken lives, the forgotten people, and the long-lasting bitterness. That global journey was only part of his transformation. What truly shook his world was discovering who his parents really were. It wasn't just shocking, it was life-altering. Suddenly, everything looked different. The royal family was no longer just a public institution. It became personal. He had to reevaluate everything he believed. He asked himself whether the monarchy still held any real value. Did it even matter anymore? It wasn't just something he read in books. He saw it with his own eyes, and it changed him. In his eyes, it became clear that politicians were the real power, while the monarchy was used as a distraction. The government, he says, is just as responsible as the royals. He has asked for answers, but none have come. He points out that while people accused Charles of hiding behind Queen Elizabeth, the United Kingdom government does the same thing with the royal family. To him, they are all playing a clever game of avoidance. The monarchy has become a useful tool for hiding the truth. He believes anyone who has followed his story knows this by now. Although when he talks about the late Queen, there's a hint of sympathy in his voice. He thinks she lived all those years unable to be her true self. He believes she had dreams, plans, and goals that were never allowed to happen. She was always the Queen, but maybe never truly free. Still, even after her passing, Simon says he won't give up. He's determined to continue his fight to prove who he is. The road ahead is difficult, but he's already walking it. There are legal options he is reviewing, and nothing will stop him from returning to court. He knows these aren't easy decisions, so he's been speaking with legal experts outside his family. He and his wife are preparing themselves for what's next. They are focused on pushing for DNA testing and finally getting the answers that have been buried for so long. He says he's not interested in using casual sources like online ancestry websites. That wouldn't hold up in court, and he refuses to be laughed at. He wants real answers. He insists that if he can be held accountable for his actions, then so should Charles. The world has been watching Simon's every move. He's faced judgment, criticism, and disbelief. Now he believes it's time for others to be just as honest and just as brave. If Charles wants respect, especially from the people of the Commonwealth, then this matter needs to be addressed directly. It can't be ignored any longer. He believes people deserve the truth and the time for silence is over, and Simon doesn't let the United Kingdom government off the hook either. He says they are just as involved. You know, the government's place in this is very easily overlooked, and other people would like to see the world be blamed for such a nasty thing. They have the same documents he has. They know what's missing. They understand the gaps in the story. He calls on them to stop hiding behind defenses that no longer hold. His fight is not just about titles or recognition. It's about finally tearing down a wall of secrets that has stood for too long. He knows the road won't be easy. He understands the mountain he is climbing, but he also believes he's not alone. Prince Harry's involvement. Recently, a dramatic turn has added fresh tension to the already fragile state of the British royal family. Simon Charles Durante Day has taken a bold and risky step that could change everything. He has announced plans to compare his DNA with that of Prince Harry. This move is not just a personal decision, it carries with it the weight of enormous consequences. Durante Day claims to be the secret son of King Charles, and this DNA comparison could be the evidence he has been waiting for to support his long-standing claims. What makes this revelation even more powerful is its timing. Just months before it was made public, Buckingham Palace shared distressing news of King Charles's battling with cancer. And as people everywhere worried about the king's health, Simon's announcement had added another layer of drama and uncertainty. The idea that there might be undisclosed truths buried within the royal bloodline recaptured the public's attention. The thought that Prince Harry himself could be pulled into this mystery gave the story a sudden urgency. According to Durante Day and his wife Elvana, they received word from someone they trust that Prince Harry might be open to taking part in a DNA comparison. Although it remains unclear whether this will happen, the couple seems determined. They believe a direct comparison between Harry and Simon could finally settle the matter. For them, it's about more than just answers. It's about justice, truth, and identity. The outcome could reshape how people understand the history and inner workings of the royal family. If a connection is found, it could rewrite personal relationships and public records alike. This whole saga becomes even more tangled when considering Simon's views on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. He has often spoken out in support of the couple, showing sympathy for what they have gone through. In his eyes, Harry and Meghan have been treated unfairly, both by the royal family and the media. He has watched the criticism and constant scrutiny aimed at Meghan and found it upsetting. He sees the treatment of the couple as proof that deeper problems exist within the royal institution. Issues of control, resistance to change, and old traditions that clash with modern values. Simon believes that Harry and Meghan's struggles are not isolated incidents. He sees them as part of a larger pattern, where anyone who steps outside the boundaries set by the palace is pushed aside or attacked. For him, this behavior reflects an unwillingness to evolve with the times. He often points to the way social media has amplified this conflict, the cruelty Meghan faced online, the endless commentary, the wave of negativity. All of it has only strengthened his belief that something is deeply wrong within the system. Meanwhile, the mystery surrounding Prince Harry's paternity continues to divide the public. Some people are intrigued by the idea that there may be more to the royal family's history than we've been told. Others see Simon Durante Day's claims as just another wild theory with no real evidence. But no matter how people feel, one thing is clear. The monarchy is struggling to control its image. In the past, the royal family had the power to keep secrets hidden and avoid difficult conversations. But those days are fading. Now people are no longer willing to accept the official version of events without question. They want proof, and they want honesty. If the royal family refuses to respond, the silence itself becomes suspicious. The story is no longer just about one man's claim. It's about a shift in how society views those in power. People are pushing back against the idea that the monarchy can simply ignore controversies and expect them to disappear. Every unanswered question only fuels more interest and more doubt. As the news spread online, reactions exploded. Social media lit up with theories, jokes, excitement, and outrage. Memes began to circulate immediately, comments sections filled with debates. Some people claimed this was the beginning of the end for the monarchy, a moment where everything started to unravel. Others argued the royal family had brought this on themselves by failing to handle such stories with openness and care. In the past, the palace might have managed to push such rumors aside, but today every whisper becomes a headline. Suddenly, everyone had something to say. Some defended the royal family, others criticized them harshly. The internet became a battlefield where emotions ran high, and nobody seemed to agree on anything. For many people, the situation was not just about one man seeking answers. It was about whether the institution could survive in a time where secrets are nearly impossible to keep. The story had taken on a life of its own. The world is paying attention. Silence is no longer protection. It is a risk. More and more royal watchers are beginning to suspect that there is more going on beneath the surface. They wonder if this revelation could be just one part of a much larger truth. This moment could mark a turning point for the monarchy. In a world driven by instant news and endless commentary, the ability to shape the story has slipped from the royal family's grasp. And now, as eyes across the globe remain fixed on Buckingham Palace, the demand for clarity only grows louder. Do you think a DNA test would ever be conducted to reveal the truth? Let us know your views in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.